noted.
Is engaging in a macabre dance. Compatibility is that of government.
You're welcome to your maiden program on African Free Press Television. It is National Assembly this week. My name is Leo Oketa. This week we did not record much controversy in the National Assembly. We had one, so to say, in the Red Chamber. But before we move to the Red Chamber, let me take you through what happened in the Green Chamber this week. The Federal House of Representatives on Thursday, November 19, 2015, unanimously passed for second reading the 2015 Supplementary Appropriation Bill. The resolution that the bill be read the second time came following a motion moved by the Leader of the House, Honorable Femi Gbajabiamila, seconded by the Minority Leader, Honorable Leo Ogo. Honorable Gbajabiamila, who led the debate on the general principles of the bill, gave a breakdown of what the sum of 465.64 billion naira requested by President Muhammadu Buhari as a supplementary budget for the 2015 fiscal year is meant for. It will be recalled that Mr. President had in a communication to the House on Tuesday, November 18, 2015, requested for the consideration and subsequent approval of the sum of 465.64 billion naira with an attachment of details of the purpose for which the money is articulated to accomplish. Majority Leader noted that the sum of 39.65 billion naira is for Operation Lafia Dola and others. 2 billion naira is for provisions for prison rations, feeding for unity schools and others. 10.62 billion naira is for provision for balance of severance, gratuity and allowances of outgoing and incoming legislators, plus legislative aids, while the sum of 113.36 billion naira is for emergency provision for subsidy claims. The Minority Whip of the House supported the passage of the bill for second reading, but cautioned that all committees of the House must intensify efforts through oversight functions to monitor the payments of subsidy claims, which she said would help ensure that the effect of the subsidy trickles down to the common man. Speaker Yakubu Dogara, in summarizing issues, agreed with the Minority Whip, adding that the House will have a modality to study the effects of subsidy payments on the ordinary Nigerians. And second on what they did was that the members of the House equally expressed concern over cases of cancer recorded in the country. A motion moved by Honorable Mohammed Usman during plenary, that was on Wednesday, November the 18th, called on the House to see the matter as urgent and important enough to be given immediate attention. Responding to the prayers of the motion, the House resolved to urge the federal government to transform National Cancer Center to an agency fully equipped to address all cancer-related matters. The House also resolved to amend the National Health Insurance Scheme bill with a view to accommodating other life-threatening health issues which are not captured in the current scheme. In addition, they charged the Federal Ministry of Health to immediately bank on repair of medical equipment in health institutions across the country, as well as organize a nationwide sensitization campaign to educate the citizens on the latest control and breakthrough made in a bid to curb the menace of the deadly disease. Others who spoke on the matter cautioned the citizens that citizens should be careful with lifestyle and nutritional intake that predispose them to cancer, adding that they must endeavor to do more regular medical checkups as a measure of preventing the spread of disease in their system. And next on what they looked at was that they deliberated on a motion which sought the investigation of the status of Nigeria's communications satellites, NICOMSAT-1. The motion was moved by Honorable Toby Okechukwu. Following the prayers of the motion, the Committee on Information Technology has been mandated to conduct the investigation with a view to reactivating the satellite to serve the country's enormous communications need. At the move of the motion, Honorable Okechukwu was certain that if put into judicious use, NICOMSAT-1 will enhance security intelligence reporting, thereby aiding in combating insurgency in the northeast states. He informed that despite the ample communications potentials of the Sat-1, coupled with its 28 active transponders and 12 redundant transponders as payloads, the Nigom Sat-1 has not been put to optimal use since it was relaunched in 2011. He added that the investigation is necessary to ensure that the 34 billion naira invested to build and launch the country's first communication satellite is accounted for. In a related development, the representatives called on Nigerian Communications Commission to start an industry-wide audit of the quality of service delivered being provided by internet service providers. The Commission also requested to set up a framework through which internet service consumers will be compensated for poor services. This is against the backdrop of the perceived exploitation of internet service consumers by the service providers. The Federal House of Representatives equally moved to review the digitalization program that started in December 2007 in the Nigerian broadcasting industry by passing a resolution mandating its Committee on Telecommunications to liaise with relevant agencies like Nigerian Broadcasting Commission (NBC), Nigerian Television Authority (NTA), and the Consumer Protection Council (CPC) to do an appraisal of the whole concept of digitalization. The resolution, which was passed during plenary session on Tuesday, the 17th, also charged the committee to investigate the partnership between NTA and StarTimes. With particular interest in the revenues generated, the resolution came following a motion moved by Honorable Edward Chi Pwajok, who informed the House that majority of people that owns television in the rural areas and even some urban areas still use analog television basically due to reduced cost, durability and reliability. He lamented that the platforms of pay TV programs are populated by foreigners like DSTV owned MultiChoice and South African company StarTimes that is 70% owned by the Chinese. The lawmaker further decried the failure of Nigeria to meet the deadline for migration to the digital broadcasting, a factor he attributed to challenges in the huge infrastructure costs which ought to be met to ensure that the digital TV sets do not experience interruptions due to bad weather, which he claimed distorts picture quality. And in another development, the federal lawmakers have pledged the sum of 10,000 naira each to support the welfare of members of the armed forces in commemoration of the Armed Forces Remembrance Day. The donation came on the heels of a motion moved by the Leader of the House, Honorable Femi Gbejebiamila, who sought the leave of Mr. Speaker to bring the matter to the fore. He prayed that the House joins together with President Muhammadu Buhari to honor all fallen heroes of the nation. A minute of silence, obviously, as the tradition demanded, was observed as a mark of respect for the fallen heroes. And now let me take you to the Red Chambers. The Senate on Wednesday, November 18, 2015, considered and approved a $200 million World Bank loan entitled Lagos State Development Policy Operation 2 loan. The approval followed the presentation of the Senate Ad Hoc Committee on Local and Foreign Debits reports on DPO2 by the committee chairman, Senator Kabiru Goya, before the Allot Chamber for consideration. 3 senators, including Mohammed Ali Ndume, Danjuma Goje, and George Thompson Sekibo, supported the loan approval. Therefore, it was put on voice votes by the Senate President Bukola Saraki and ultimately scaled through. And similarly, the general principles of 3 bills were debated and passed for second reading by the Upper Legislative Chamber. They include a bill for an act to repeal the Forestry Institute of Nigeria Act 1973 and re-enact the Forestry Research Institute of Nigeria and for other matters connected therewith. Sponsored by Senator Uche Ekunife from Anambra Central and seconded by Senator Chukwuka Otazi from Enugu North, the bill being referred to the Senate Committee on Environment for further legislative inputs to report back in 4 weeks. And then the second bill passed was a bill for an act to facilitate the use of information and electronic forms for conducting transactions in Nigeria and for connected purposes 2015, sponsored by Senator Hope Uzodinma of Imo and seconded by Senator Enyinaya Baribe from Abia South. The bill has been transferred to the Senate Committee on Banking, Insurance and Other Financial Institutions for further legislative works and to report back in 4 weeks. And while the third legislation passed was a bill for an act to provide for the establishment of the National Center for Cancer Research, obviously which the House of Reps touched the other time, and treatment and for other connected purposes 2015, sponsored by Senator Mao Ohabonwa of Abia North. The bill has been referred to the Senate Committee on Health to report back in 4 weeks. And the Senate on Tuesday, November 17, 2015, equally adopted a legislative agenda for its operation and also considered and passed a motion on JAMB's new admission policy. The adoption of the legislative agenda followed resumed consideration of the Senate Ad Hoc Committee reports on 8th Senate legislative agenda, which was deferred to another legislative date on Thursday, October the 8th, 2015, by the Chamber. The consideration was led by Senate Leader Mohammed Ali Ndume, who urged the senators to critically look at the report with a view to making inputs before its adoption. He added that the legislative agenda will serve as a compass that directs the operations of the 8th Senate, which is subject to changes and additions. The Senate leader moved that the Senate do adopt the legislative agenda and was seconded by Senate Minority Leader Senator Akpabio. And consequently, the Senate is aware that JAMB in 2015 adopted a policy whereby candidates of universities with surplus applications for the Unified Tertiary Matriculation Examinations are reassigned to other universities with lower number of candidates than their capacities. In view of this, the motion sailed through with 3 prayers stated. First, the Senate urged JAMB to consult widely with Parents Teachers Association, ASU, and all other stakeholders in the education sector with a view to coming out with a friendlier, holistic, comprehensive and sustainable admission policy. Secondly, the Senate had to direct its Committee on Education to inquire into circumstances surrounding the JAMB policy, including all allegations of favoritism, and generally review the power of JAMB vis-a-vis admission. And then thirdly, they urged JAMB to increase the validity of its examination admission results from 1 year to 3 years. Drama does not seem to go away from a National Assembly, but we just recorded one. Here is it. The People's Democratic Party (PDP) senators on Wednesday stopped the wife of national leader of the All Progressive Congress (APC), Senator Oluremi Tinubu from Lagos Central, from using the microphone on the seat of the Deputy Senate, President Ike Ekweremadu from PDP Enugu West, who claimed to have escaped an assassination attempt on Tuesday, and he was absent. And Mrs. Tinubu sat on his seat for over an hour. It was while she was sitting on Ekweremadu's seat that the Senate President Bukola Saraki asked her to second the $200 million loan request of Lagos State. And that was when the whole issue started coming up from the PDP senators. That is where we're going to wrap it up for this week on National Assembly. Please always endeavor to log on to our website at www.africanfreepress.com. Follow us on Twitter at African Free Press. Like our Facebook page at African Free Press. Join us in our discussions on various topics and subjects on African Free Press Forum, and subscribe to our YouTube channel at African Free Press. From me, Leo Oketa, and the whole team of the National Assembly, it's a very good evening to you. Do enjoy the rest of your weekend.